All right, good evening. Thank you very much for coming on this day we had to reschedule, and it's just kind of crazy, but we are here today, and this is the 8th grade transition meeting. I am Carrie Gauthier, the assistant principal at the high school. And I just want to welcome you before we get started here. And I'd like to introduce a few people. So this is Mr. Ross. He is one of our school counselors, works a lot with dual enrollment and early college and all sorts of things like that. Always great for students to go on one-on-one counseling as well. And there's Mr. Huber. Mr. Huber is 9th through 11th grade. He deals with all CTE students and does one-on-one counseling too. So they're both really good resources for you as we move into the high school, and they're basically going to give the presentation tonight. This group of teachers standing here is Miss Lentz, Miss Narker, Miss Kuster, and Mr. Willett. They are a few of the teachers who make up our 9th grade team. At the high school, we have a team of teachers that work with the 9th grade students, and if the other ones could have came down, they would have, but they must be with parents right now. So I want you to know that we really work as a team here at the high school to help your student, to help them in all areas, not just academically, but socially, emotionally, and to just help prepare them for life. So they learn a lot of stuff here, and I know you're working hard to teach them too. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Ross, and he's going to get started tonight.
All right, thank you again for taking time out of your day and coming to this meeting. We will also post this online, so if we go fast, or if there's something you didn't quite catch, we will post it on the Onward Shepherd site, which we will show you in a little while, and you can review it. I made the mistake going back last year and watching it. I watched myself, and I thought, I better not ever present ever again. I looked overweight, and then I stepped on the scale and realized I'm the exact same weight. I'm like, oh, that's not good. So, one person that we didn't mention is Joe Pasalacqua. He's the high school principal. He's actually at a school event tonight, so he cannot be here. Okay, graduation requirements. No matter what school you go to in the state of Michigan, all students, in order to get a high school diploma, have to satisfy what's called the Michigan Merit Curriculum, and it looks just like what's up here. 4 credits of English, 3 of social studies, 4 credits of math. Math is a little interesting because that 4th credit can be in a lot of different areas. It could be a financial course, could even be a career technical education course, could be a dual enrollment like calculus or Calc 2. Science, PE, and health. VPAA stands for Visual, Performing, and Applied Arts. That could be like band, chorus, art, woodworking, metal shop, web design. All those courses count. And then foreign language. It was just recently passed ahead of time. This is the first group of students that you know before you get in high school whether it's going to be required or not. Yes, 2 credits are required. However, you can exempt yourself out of that 2nd credit of foreign language by taking an extra credit of VPAA. Okay, you can take an extra web design course or whatever. And electives is about 9.5. That really varies depending on how many dual enrollment courses you take and so forth. But in order to get that high school diploma, you need to get to 27.5. That's the magical number. If you're short of that, you don't get the diploma, and you'll be expected to keep taking courses until you satisfy it. Shepherd High School also has a board-approved portfolio, which will be a resume, some evidence of your accolades throughout school, and your preparation for job interviews and so forth down the road. So there is a portfolio component. Our trimester format. In the middle school, 8th graders have trimesters, but it's not quite the same. You end classes at the fall, about Thanksgiving time, and then you end classes again about spring break time, and then the 3rd trimester goes to the end of school. However, in the middle school, you have 6 courses. In high school, you're only going to have 5. We believe in that. We were the first school in this area to go to trimesters. And ever since then, now all the major schools are on it. Ithaca, Mount Pleasant, Elma are all on trimesters now. And they all came to us for advice on how to implement it. We believe that 74-minute time is the perfect amount of time. It's long enough to get science labs completed, to compete in a PE activity or so forth. But 5 classes is not like having 7 classes to focus on at any one point in time. When I was in high school, if I had to focus on 6 or 7 classes, it's a lot. So we tried to simplify it. The other nice thing about trimesters is you switch it up. You actually might be in an English class in the fall, and in the winter you might not have English. And then you'll have English again in the spring. But the minutes actually add up to be comparable to what the 6-period day used to be. So it's still a half credit. So they take 5 classes a day, 3 trimesters, so that's 15 sections. Each of those sections is worth a half credit. Okay, 8th graders, raise your hand. Where are you at out here? Okay, time to do a little bit of math. If you take 15 sections and each is a half credit, how many credits can you earn in 1 year? 7.5. And if you're on the 4-year plan, how many credits could you potentially earn? How many could you potentially earn? You said the answer right the first time. 30. All right. Thank you. So there's a little bit of room there if you do have struggles, but not a lot. Okay? Scheduling and registration. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Huber. He's actually met with your 8th grade students, and he'll tell you a little bit about what they discussed.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I met with just about every 8th grader in Mr. Rhodes' math classes. And we went into career cruising, which Mr. Ross is going to bring up here in just a second. First, we'll talk about this website here. This is onwardshepherd.weebly.com. This is our counseling department website, and it has their nice faces there. At the top, you have the menu of different areas like that news and info. We really encourage, by the time they're seniors, they're going to use that quite a bit. A lot of scholarship information there. Transcript requests, again, that's kind of for seniors. They can go in there and request their transcript online. And then we have resources, which we're going to go to right now. If you scroll down once you get here, you have our graduation requirements, course offering guide, anything you want to find out about a class that you want to sign up for, there's information there. Graduation requirements and electives, all the classes are listed there if you download that file. There's Mr. Ross in last year's transition meeting. We'll put the new one up right there probably tomorrow. And then we go down here, this is what we showed your 8th graders. We want to go to career cruising. So we're going to go there, and I'll talk about this for a little bit as we log into a student who volunteered to let us do that. But this website is something they're going to use all 4 years. They've already used it even before I saw them with a couple classes. They can do career exploration on this website, take an interest inventory to find out things that they might like to do or be good at. So there's really quite a bit of stuff on here that you could look over with your son or daughter. There's the Explore Careers menu right there, and below there, you have stuff for each state. It'll give you a lot of different things about colleges, degrees that are offered for the program that you're looking for each state. A lot of information. Can be almost too much at a time, but then we click on to My Course Plan. So this is what we did in the class, and we made sure that they knew what they're required to take next year, what electives that they have to choose from, that freshmen commonly take. So on the far left is the 9th grade. You can plan out 10th, 11th, 12th grade if you want, and of course you can go and change it. For their 9th grade year, for next year, we want them to have this finalized by the end of this 2nd trimester. So that's about the 2nd week of March now. We want them to have it. Whatever they have in there, we're going to pull. PowerSchool is going to pull that information, and that's what we'll use to generate their schedules. So most students, as you see, like this student here has 4 electives in there. The electives are in the white. And at the bottom, under that blue submit button, what do we do with that blue submit button, students? Never touch it, thank you. Never, ever, ever, right?
If you
No,
touch it, you're locked in and you're not able to change it.
yeah,
It's best not to do that.
yeah. So, because you never know, we might want to make changes. You may think, oh, that's good, I'm done, but you may make changes. So, some freshmen may have 5 electives. It depends on what path they're on, but the yellowish color towards the top are required classes. So every student will have two English classes, 2 science, 2 world studies. A couple of them might have algebra for 3 trimesters. Some students may be in geometry next year. Kind of depends what path they're on. So we made sure they got all that in there. And then towards the bottom there, by that blue submit button, as I was talking about, we want their credits, we want that to be a 7.5. Okay, so that's what we went over in class, made sure everyone had 7.5. You can now go home and look it over with them, discuss the electives that they chose, maybe encourage them to take more challenging classes if you feel that's fit. You still have time if you have questions or if you want to make changes. If you want to email us or call us, we'll help you make sure that you understand exactly what the requirements are. And there's a lot of variables that go in. It's not cut and dry the same thing for everybody. So we understand that there's probably going to be quite a few questions. So you can ask them tonight, and you may think of them later as well. So Career Cruising is the website. For their username and password, we encourage them to use their student number and then their SPS password, which they use for their school email. And the website is in the red letters at the bottom, so we encourage you to get familiar as parents with that as well.
Basically, all you have to remember is onwardshepherd.weebly.com. 8th graders, say that. onwardshepherd.weebly.com. You're going to go to that website all the time throughout your next 4 years. Every resource you need is on that webpage. You don't have to remember anything else but that. Okay? Also, when we build a master schedule, we take what the students sign up for, we print off a list of how many students, and we build a schedule based on student-driven electives and requirements and what they signed up for. If students change their mind after we build a master schedule, it throws our class sizes off, and it happens every year. So it's very important to think about those classes you're signing up for. Do your best to lock it in. Of course, we will look at it. If there's a good reason to switch something, we will do it if we can. But keep in mind, anytime we switch a class for a student, it does affect the class sizes. Let me give you an example. If 70 students sign up for a class, we're faced with a dilemma. Do we offer 2 classes that average 35 students each? Or do we offer 3 classes that are small? Do we offer 2 classes, cap it at 30 and tell 10 of the students they cannot be in it? Those are very difficult questions we have to address when we build a master schedule. So students, I beg of you, please take your time and put some thought into it. Please, please, please. Okay, English is pretty basic. As 9th graders, they will all take English 9. However, based on your NWEA scores and looking at your skill levels coming out of 8th grade, if there appears to be a gap, we will put you in a course called Pre-English 9, first trimester. And it'll work on improving your skills in English, and then you will start English 9 the winter time and complete it in the spring. That's been a very effective tool for us. And we can look at that also for a guided academics class, which would be a course where you get some extra instruction and time to complete homework. Sophomore year is English 10. Junior year is English 11. Your senior year, you have a choice. You could take senior English here, or English 12A and B, or you can dual enroll. Dual enrollment means taking a college course while you're in high school. Those courses are actually taught right on our campus at the Laidley building. Some of you remember I actually went to school there in 1st grade, a long time ago. But it's now all designed for college courses. If you take English 111 college and English 112 college, that would satisfy your senior English credit. Okay? And you get college credit for it. So it's something to consider. Social studies is also pretty basic. All ninth graders will take world studies. Sophomores, United States history. Junior year is a tough year. Economics and civics, and then you throw in the science, chemistry, and the algebra 2. Junior year is a tough year here at Shepherd. It just is. So you got to get your mind ready for that and really work hard at your studies leading up to that junior year. And then we also have several electives for your senior year. Okay, this is something new to Shepherd. We are going to be one of the leading, we will be the leading school in this area in STEM. It is an initiative pushed by the state. It is simply putting more emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We are one of the few schools that can actually satisfy the requirements of the state to get a certificate, a special diploma at the end of your high school career if you satisfy the STEM requirements. What do those look like? They have to have a coding component. Well, next year we will be offering a course called Introduction to Computer Science that will include coding. It will satisfy that. We will have a physics class offered by the time they get to be seniors that will have an engineering component to it. We will offer the math and science classes here at our school at a more rigorous, more in-depth approach that will emphasize preparation for future careers in the STEM field. Through our dual enrollment, we also offer pre-calc and calculus. The minimum to get the STEM diploma is you have to get through pre-calc. If you don't get through pre-calc, you just don't get the diploma, the STEM diploma. You can start down this STEM pathway and decide, you know, I just don't know if I really want to take pre-calc. Maybe you want to go into a different career. That's okay. So you can work towards that STEM diploma and just say, I just don't want to complete the requirements, so you just don't get the extra certificate. That's really okay. There's no pressure on that. The students who are in algebra this year in 8th grade, those students will start down that STEM diploma track next year. All of them. Doesn't mean they have to satisfy it at the end, but they will take STEM geometry, because all of them will be in that course, and they'll all be together. And they'll also take STEM physical science. And then what they need to do if they want to get this diploma is in their schedule as one of their electives put Introduction to Computer Science. Okay, and that's important. Okay, what about those students who didn't have algebra as 8th graders? That doesn't mean they can't do it. When they're 9th graders, they take algebra, and if they can perform at a high level and start to excel in the math area, they can jump on that STEM track as a sophomore and just cross over and start taking STEM math and STEM science courses. So you can still cross over even if you didn't take algebra this year. Any questions on the STEM? Okay. Science is going to be similar. There will be a STEM emphasis, and then there will be a general physical science emphasis. And then as sophomores, they will all take biology. As juniors, they'll take chemistry. If you want to get that STEM diploma, then as a senior, you will actually dual enroll in biology and or chemistry. That'll actually be taught up at the college. Every year we have about 20, 25 students who do that, and they do very well. Our students do very well in the dual enrollment. We have a 98% pass rate. And you want to know what? Those 2% that don't pass has nothing to do with their abilities. It's either they just, I didn't want to go to class, and they'll be honest with you, or they just blew it off. I mean, that's why they don't pass. So our students do very well within the college curriculum, very well, and it's something we should be proud of. The math looks like this. We talked about it just a little while ago. There are some other electives in mathematics. We have a statistics class, especially for those going into a social science, like you want to go in to be a psychologist, a social worker, counselor. Statistics are going to be very important for you, so you might choose to do the stats class. If you want to go into engineering, well, you're going to want to go down pre-calc and calc. We even had some students over the years that have done calc 2, and that's really good for a high school student. We've come a long way in the math area. We already mentioned that the master schedule is built on the student request, so it's important that parents help go over that with their son or daughter and really make sure they put some thought into it. Here's kind of an example breakdown. On the left-hand side would be the 9th grade general courses. If you're going into Algebra 1, Algebra 1 would be spread out over 3 trimesters. If you're on the STEM path coming in as 9th graders, you'd be on the right in the green. Notice at the bottom is one of the electives I put in, Intro to Computer Science. On the right-hand side are electives. We have a lot more electives than this offered at our school. However, these are electives that are common amongst 9th graders, okay? There are even sometimes we make some exceptions where a 9th grader might go into an elective that's a little higher order, but sometimes you have to get permission to do that. And band students, choir students, please make sure you get that in your schedule. That's important, and we want to support those programs. If you go online and you hit to the Onward Shepherd site and you go to curriculum guide, you will see this cover there, and it will tell you everything you want to know about Shepherd schools, from graduation requirements to how we do testing to a description of every single course, lots of information there. So I encourage you to check out our curriculum guide online, and it has been updated for next year. I'm going to let Ms. Gauthier talk a little bit about homework and our philosophy of that.
So homework, the really key important thing that I want you to know about homework is it's not worth a lot in the grade book, okay? But it is practice for students to test. So just like basketball, if you don't go to practice, it's going to be hard for you to perform in the game. And that's the way we look at homework, okay? So we need students to do homework, but really there's not a lot of homework. I'm the one who talks to kids all the time about getting their work done, and I'll tell you, if students use their class time wisely, they probably will not have homework, okay? However, it's important that, we give all the kids Chromebooks, right? So every high school student has a Chromebook, and they get to take it home at night. It's theirs. They basically own it. It's their job to check PowerSchool. As that 9th grade team that you kind of saw here, every day during third hour, they say, pull your PowerSchool up. What are you missing? What do you need to do? Do you need to go to lunch opportunity? That's part of what our 9th grade team helps teach 9th grade students, is to check PowerSchool, to find out what they're missing, to know what it is they need to do. So it's really important that you encourage your child to, even now in middle school, hey, can I see your PowerSchool? What do you got going on there? Can I see your grades? And a lot of our kids have it right on their phone, their PowerSchool app, and they can pull it up anytime, even if they don't have a Chromebook. So it's really important that we understand that this homework is practice for the test or for the game, so they still need to do it, okay?
Yeah, PowerSchool is a huge tool. I have 2 sons that go to school. One goes here at Shepherd, one goes to Elma. Well, I'm not in direct contact with him. So I have PowerSchool, and I'm on that thing about 5 times a day, and he hates me for it. And he can, that's okay. And he does tend to skip homework assignments. He's one of those kids that can get by, but he gets lazy. When I see it, the first thing I do is I say, hey, you have 2 assignments in a row. Give me your car keys, give me your phone. When you get that up, then you'll get it back. And that's how I deal with it. And I don't pull any punches with it. Because there's only so much you can do as a parent, other than encouraging them, asking them a lot of questions. But guess what? Students can lie to you. My sons don't always tell me the truth. They don't. Do you have any homework? No. Oh, you're lying. So do that. Follow up on it. If you see a habit where they're not following through, then remove something or reward them when they do a good job. That's my thought. And my kid does frustrate me often with it. So I've been there. I feel your pain with some of it. Then my other son's just the opposite. If he doesn't do a work, he's like freaking out. I'm like, dude, it's okay. My other one doesn't care. I'm like, oh my gosh. He takes after his mother. Top 10 honors. Some of the students in this graduating class will want to compete for accolades academically. That's great. We use two factors. We use half of it as your GPA, half of it is your SAT score. We're not the only school that does that. Right now, all the major schools, Mount Pleasant does it, Ithaca, Alma, most schools do it that way now. For years, even before we went to it, the state of Michigan used that to define who would go speak, like at TV5 News. You know, they do the best of the class and stuff. And some of those other things used to use those formulas. So it's important to keep your GPA up and also do well on the SAT. And you can retake the SAT as many times as you want. Okay? If you are economically disadvantaged, you can come see me. I can give you a pass, and you can take the SAT multiple times with no cost to you. So cost is not a roadblock for people retaking it. I've heard that rumor out there, and that's not true. So all students can retake the SAT if they want to. Okay? They can come see me or Mrs. Gauthier, and we'll help you. One of the nice things that this has allowed is for students to take some risk. Before, we were getting students that would say, I don't want to take physics. Take me out of advanced math. I don't want to take it. I got a 4.0. I don't want to lose it. I'm like, well, what? So our best students weren't taking tough courses because they didn't want to hurt their GPA. This has helped that, because now we're getting students who have taken harder courses and maybe got a 3.9, but scored through the roof on the SAT, and it helps them. So it levels the playing field. Freshman year and sophomore year, here are things to think about. The number one thing I want to tell you, students, is get off to a good start in your academics. Don't put it off, because what will happen is you'll get to be a junior, senior, and all of a sudden it'll start mattering to you, and you'll say, boy, I wish I would have done this. So start off to the best of your abilities, okay? If you're a B student, then get Bs or strive to get As. Do the best you can. The other big thing I want to tell you is get involved in extracurricular activities. Band, the play, chorus, sports. There's all kinds of things. Get involved, build some memories, have some fun. Have a good balance between that, interacting with your student body. And I mean this, and I know my son's part of this grade. This is a great grade. This really is. I've been around some other schools. I've been doing this for almost 25 years. This is a good graduating class coming up. And you guys should have fun with it. The personalities are great. The parents are good. I mean, this is fun. So take advantage of it. And that's not just lip service. Okay, sophomore year is a lot the same, but when you get to be a sophomore, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to take dual enrollment. Now, dual enrollment is the college courses while you're in high school. In order to take them, however, you have to be college ready. You can't be getting Ds in your classes and come and say, Mr. Ross, I want to dual enroll next year. So I'm going to say, I don't think that's in your best interest yet. So don't get offended if that's the case. We will look at the PSAT 9 and 10. Those are college indicators. That's exactly what they look at, is college readiness. There's a correlation between your scores on that and the probability of you being successful in a college course. It's not the only thing we look at. We'll also look at your attendance. If you have really poor attendance, that might keep you out of a dual enrollment course. But our students have done very well, especially the ones that have taken that risk and done the dual. Okay. There are 3 ways to take a dual enrollment class. The number one way is to actually take the course here at Shepherd High School. Most of our courses we offer on our campus, in the Laidley building, and Mr. Gross teaches speech right here in our hallway. A couple of the classes, like the science, is taught up at Mid, just on Somerton. I think it's Somerton Road, isn't it? It's only a few miles uptown here, and a lot of the students carpool together, and that's a couple mornings of the week. So that's the bio and the chemistry. I caution you, some students do online dual enrollment. Some students do very well with it. But with online, there's some freedom there. And you just got to be ready to discipline yourself to stay on it. Some of the students who have failed our courses, they have failed the online course, and it was just because they fell behind, they felt overwhelmed, so what do? Throw their hands up and let it go. So if you want to dual enroll online, please talk to your parents, think about it before you make that decision. You also have to choose whether you count it for a high school credit, college credit, or both. Almost all of our students count all of these credits to both. Why might a student count it towards college only? There's a couple reasons. One, it would not affect their high school GPA. So you might want to take that Calc 2 class, and it's going to be tough. Boy, I might get a B. You know, those are the type of students that B would be, oh, they're really good. They don't want to ruin that great GPA. Well, they can say, well, just count that towards college only. Great. Go take that great course, do your best, take the risk. We won't even put it in your GPA. That's one reason. The other reason is there are some colleges that may not take a class that counts towards high school as well. Most colleges will. But you get to some prestigious colleges, University of Michigan, Harvard, you know, bigger colleges, they may not take that. So you may want to count it only towards college, but we'll hook you up with an advisor that can help think through that process. Okay, another difference. You've heard the terms probably of the Michigan Transfer Agreement, or MTA, and early college, and dual enrollment. Those are all three different things. Dual enrollment is the broadest of all of them. That is just where you take a college class while in high school. That's dual enrollment. Within that, there is something called the Michigan Transfer Agreement. If you take 30 credits of certain courses, when you complete that, any public university college in the state of Michigan accepts that as the first year. Done. There's one exception to that. University of Michigan may not take that. Michigan State is getting better. They tend to take it. Public colleges. Now, if you're going to Elma College, Albion, Olivet, some of those ones that aren't public, you want to get with them and find out what classes will transfer. But if you go to Western, Central, Grand Valley, Saginaw Valley, they're all going to take it. And that means you can get your first year of college done during your 4 years of high school here. That's pretty incredible. We get how many per year? 20? 20 students leave here and their first year of college is completed. That's excellent. The other one is early college. That is a commitment you need to think about leading up to the fall of your junior year. If you choose to accept that challenge, you will stay in high school for 5 years. You're like, whoa. But in that 5 years, the 5th year, you're a college student. You're on the campus the whole time. You don't even come to our campus except to meet with me once a quarter. You'll meet with me and that's it. And you'll do a budget. But when you finish those 5 years, you have the potential of having an associate's degree and a high school diploma and zero debt. Now, that's impressive. My son will be doing that. Just to let you know. NCAA, Mr. Huber?
Any student athletes that hope to or are working for or plan to or even in the future are thinking of that they want to be a college athlete at the NCAA Division I or Division II level, there's quite a few requirements that you got to make sure you keep in line and classes that you take and the GPA requirements for core classes that are required. So you want to talk with us on that. The sooner the better. You have to create an account with the NCAA Eligibility Center by the time you're a junior, and that costs like $90. And so there's a process to go through. So if that's on your radar, maybe goals that you have, make sure you stay in contact with us and we can help navigate that.
No, we don't offer swimming, but I did put it on there. My oldest son swims, so I wanted to throw that up there. So, with that, to be eligible, you have to get a minimum score on the SAT. If you don't score high enough on that, you would not be eligible to participate in college sports. and there are a lot of students that don't make it. Back when I was coming through school, that used to be called the Prop 48. Remember some of those athletes? I was a Michigan fan. I was hoping this guy was going to go there and play, and he was a Prop 48 and he wasn't eligible because they didn't satisfy these requirements. So it's important. Want to talk about that?
So what we want to talk about is parents, and you guys are really the key to your students' success. I mean, as a high school, we want students to, be advocates for themselves. We want them checking Power School. We want all those things to happen. However, we know that sometimes they just don't know how to do it. And I said our team helps them, our 9th grade team, but we really need parents. I mean, you guys are really the key. So if you don't have a Power School account yourself, please see about getting one, okay? So you want to be able to check your students' grades. I can't tell you, and not just the front one that says like what their grade is. You got to click on it and see what's actually going on in the grade book. So, and there's comments in there. You need to hit the view and read the comments, because that is the teacher's everyday way to communicate with you. And I'll tell you that the high school grades, they're supposed to keep them up to date on Monday morning by 8 o'clock. And the reason we ask them to do that is because we run eligibility for sports at 8 o'clock Monday morning. So we do ask our teachers to keep their grades updated or have them updated by Monday morning at 8. So again, it's really important that parents figure out how to use Power School. It's a great communication tool. Is it the only one? Absolutely not. But it's a good place to get started with conversations for your child. Also, studying. I've had 3 kids come through Shepherd, okay? And they don't have to study all the time, okay? But we have to teach them how to study. We have to teach them that, hey, these are the worksheets you want to keep for that test on Thursday, and I'm going to quiz you over them, because they don't know how to study. My kids didn't. And I'll tell you, my daughter, I pushed her into dual enrollment, and she had a really hard time because school had always been super easy. I mean, she just, whatever, A's, A's, A's. Well, she didn't know how to study. Thank goodness she had some friends that taught her, and they studied because they always had studied. But if we don't teach our kids how to study, we don't teach them how to take notes. And I know we do work on that here at school, but again, they might need more practice. They might need someone to quiz them at home. So we're going to encourage some good study habits at home and that open communication with teachers. If you have a question, email them. Email them, give them a call. It's sometimes harder to get a hold of them, but just shoot them an email, and you will probably get emails from them as well, okay? In 9th grade, we actually case load every student, and what I mean by that is we put them all in alphabetical order, and teachers take a student. And that teacher then will call you, especially if you need to be invited to parent-teacher conferences. May not even be a teacher your student has, but you will get a personal phone call, and they will invite you and ask you to come, and they can talk to you about what's going on. I don't know who the caseloads will be right now, but we kind of do that in the summer. So every student has one teacher that looks out for them really well all year long, and will call you. And then we also have our whole 9th grade team that meet regularly and say, gosh, this student really struggled. I think they need a guided academics. Let's talk to them. Let's make these decisions. And so they kind of make it as a team. So just know that we are really having lots of communication about your child, because it is a huge transition to high school. You want to know what the biggest transition is? Lunch. I'm not kidding. Why is lunch such a huge transition? Well, they can leave campus, and all of a sudden they don't understand time. Or they all want to go to McDonald's. You can't, unless you're like in cross country or track. You're not going to McDonald's. You're not going to make it. And it really is, it's just the freedom. And we have lots of students who move in and out of our building all day long because of dual enrollment, because of VOTEC. And sometimes it looks like a free-for-all. And so then these 9th graders think, oh, I want to do that. I want that hour off. Well, it comes with earning grades and showing you're responsible and being able to take care of those things. So really, lunch is huge. We also encourage them to take the rigorous classes. This is something I always get when I talk to students about dual enrollment. I'm not going to take that because it's not going to transfer to my college. Okay, maybe it's not, but is it better to take pre-calc and learn a little bit about it and then have some skills and have practiced those things? Is it better? Probably. Or even just to take a college course to know what it's like to sit there with a college professor and talk in groups, and it's different. It's different. So I just want to encourage students, if you can, at least take one or work towards the transfer agreement. If you don't earn it, it's not a big deal, but at least you've attempted some rigorous classes. Encourage the extracurricular involvement. There's a couple things all students can do, right? All students can go to float building. All students can go to homecoming. And all students can be a part of those things. And we really encourage students to be a part of float building. I've gone to float building every year. It's a great time. So it's free food, you hang out, you paint, they joke around. I've seen paint fights, spray fights, basketball games going on. It's really a good time for just everybody to be involved. And the other thing that all students can do is you can belong to our Links program. And Links is where we link students with other students who need a friend. So Links is really just about being friends and helping each other and being good role models at school. So those are two programs, two things that all students can be involved in, okay? So if you're considering or even thinking about Links, maybe you did it in the middle school, but you're thinking about high school, Mrs. Prout is the one in charge of that, and she'll come around and talk to you, but it's also a good program. And talk about what your plans are gonna be. I mean, we also find this is really struggling for students is when they don't see an end in mind. And encourage them to try things. If they want to be a builder, then let them take the VOTEC building course and try. Maybe they won't like it. Maybe they'll love it. If your child is really interested in STEM and they want to go that way, let them try it. It's not going to hurt them to find out what they don't want to do, because it's really difficult to pay for college and have them get done, and then they go, I don't want to do that. So it's really a great time for students to try things and see what it is they do and don't want to do. So it's really important. And I hate to say this, but it's okay to fail. We have to be okay with that. And so we can help kids work through that, and we can help pick them back up, and they can understand that there's consequences. So I know that's kind of hard to hear. I've had to let my own kid fail a couple of times. But we do, and we have to help them through it and help them develop these skills to deal with things that are difficult. And a friend of mine says, you can do hard things. And I almost just would love to make that our slogan here at Shepherd, because our students a lot of times say, oh, this is hard, I don't want to do it. But we can. You all have done hard things in your life. I mean, as parents, we all have. Raising kids is hard. So our kids need to know that it's okay to work hard. And that's what we're really trying to do here at Shepherd, is for them to understand it's okay to work hard, and we're going to help you. We're going to support you. So, we want to let you know about that. I want to say something about onwardshepherd.weebly.com, because the kids all know, our kids in the high school. You don't have to type that in. You can go to Shepherd Public Schools website, to the high school, and click on the counseling page, and it will take you there. So, you don't have to memorize that. You can still go right to our webpage and go to counseling, and it will take you there, and it's great resources for you. Really good information. Okay.
I heard a student a couple years back say, I didn't get a scholarship, I didn't know they were out there. That Onward Shepherd site, we post them all the time there. That's where they're located. I will also email them to the senior class. If they don't check their emails or don't go to the website, I don't know what else to do. At some point, there is a responsibility for them. Sometimes it's good as parents to know that because you can kind of look into it and then go back to your son or daughter and say, hey, there's some information there. Okay? If you ever want to talk to a representative from a college, let me know. We do bring them in. We have them sign up to see them. Sometimes we don't get any students that follow up and they don't sign up, so the rep might not speak to them. But if you do want to speak to a military rep, a tech rep, college rep, you can come see us and we can contact them for you and help out. So with that, questions from you guys? Yes, ma'am.
In what grade can they start vocational courses?
Okay, and what grade can they start vocational courses? We've actually been asked to call it career technical education. There's a shift in the title, so I'm going to try to do that myself. They can start in the 11th grade. There's been a couple of exceptions that have done a sophomore year, but they really have to have a good plan. But we can talk with them about that, but their junior year is the best year to start CTE courses. And if you go on to the Onward Shepherd site, you can see a list of them there and look at some examples. Good question. Yes?
So if they take a dual enroll and it only counts for college credit, like you were saying, then they miss out on that half credit?
Yeah, they would be a half credit less. Usually the students who do enroll, they pass all their classes. So they have room to miss a few. But again, 99% of all of our dual enrollment classes, our students count as both. By the way, we have, in the course of a trimester, we will have about 200 dual enrollment courses. We will have 100 and some students dual enrolling. And 98% of them will pass. That's incredible. Any other questions? Yes?
So with the dual enrollment, if they're here on the campus, are they run like a regular college course, or they're not really going to the college campuses?
Yeah, they're not necessarily going to the college campus. They'll be here. However, it should be run like a college course. It's in a separate building, but it's on our school property, but it's in a separate building, taught by a professor from the college, and it should be taught in the same format.
Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And it might be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So on Tuesday and Thursday, when they have that in their schedule, that's a time for them to study and to take advantage of that, just like you would if you were in college. Good question. Yes?
If they do the 5-year plan where they get the associates, do they graduate with their class?
Oh, great question. Do the students who complete that 5th year, that early college, graduate with their class? Yes. After the 4 years of high school, if they're on track, which they will be or they won't be in the program, they will participate in the graduation ceremony. However, when you shake the principal's hand and they hand you that little thing that's got a Shepherd High School logo on it, there won't be a diploma inside it. Actually, there never is. We give it to them afterwards in an envelope. But they won't receive their diploma until after the 5th year. Now, let's say they get into that 5th year and life happens. Things happen. They get really sick, or something happens emotionally and they can't complete it. They can still satisfy the requirement. They just wouldn't get the associate's degree. They would have to do some community service and some job shadowing, and they can still get their high school diploma and a MEMCA certificate. Okay. Other questions?
And we'll have an early college dual enrollment meeting, a standalone meeting for those of you who are really interested in it. So.
I'd like to add this too. Things are changing fast in education and also in society. These career technical education jobs are expanding quickly. There's opportunities for them. So if your son or daughter is looking to go into a technical field, boy, encourage them. The jobs are out there, and they're very high-paying jobs. I've actually done some externships where I've gone to these companies, and I worked for them during the summer so they could talk to me and expose me to it, and they can't find enough help. I'm talking from J-Rank Electric to different places like Mobart in these areas. Great companies to work for. And they're looking for good quality people who want to work, and they'll pay them well. So don't discourage them from going the tech route. The jobs are there. Was there a question over here? Yes, sir.
So just the dual enrollment thing, like you mentioned, it's like taking college where it might be a Monday, Wednesday, or whatever. Is there ever a time where they double up, where they do, like in college, where you take a Monday, Wednesday class, and in the same time period you take a Tuesday,
So the question is it possible with dual enrollment to kind of do what you do in college where you go on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then also throw in a Tuesday, Thursday? It is possible. It really depends on how your whole schedule is put together. We have basically a cookie cutter format to get students through certain college courses, but we've done that before where they were taking an online course, and it might be during the same time as another course, but that meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then on Tuesday, Thursday, they work on their online course. But they can only take 5 courses at one time at most. That's just the state of Michigan rule. You can't take more than that. That's what we allow, that's what you can take. If a student wants to take a college course in the summer, they can do that, but it will be at the expense of the parents, which is okay if they want to do that. Okay, other questions? Yes? Typically 10th grade. By law, they can do it 9th grade. There's really no need because you can get through all you need to get through even starting your sophomore year. You could even wait till your junior year and still get through the transfer agreement, as long as you're not failing courses or falling behind in credits. Great questions. Okay, I thank you for coming. We will put this online so you can review it. If you have questions, contact us. Yes, sir.
I got a question about the Chromebooks.
Yep.
Do they just have to be connected to the internet in order for them to do their work?
Okay, the question is, do the Chromebooks have to be connected to the internet in order for them to do their work? Do you have, I would say most of the time, because a lot of the stuff is through Moodle or online components. Probably depends on the class as well, but most of the time, possibly yes.
So if a family don't have the internet
Yeah.
location where they live,
Yeah, a lot of the students can get a lot of the stuff done in school. Also, they can go to the library. They can do some other things to get that internet connection. If it's an issue, if they communicate with their teacher, if they're having trouble with internet connection, and just communicate with them, the teacher might be able to work around that and help them. Or come see a counselor too. We can help intervene and go talk to the teacher and say, hey, there's a limit here. Can we do something else? So we'll do the best we can to help. Other questions? Okay, be careful. Students, plan on school tomorrow. Be happy if it isn't, but plan on it. Go to bed early. Thank you, guys.